Hello and welcome to this channel for ACCA FR exam prep. My name is Adam. In this video, I'll be taking you through how to account for repayment of revenue grant or capital grant. So where there is a repayment of government grant, how do we account for it? So let's look at the question. The requirement, which journal entry is required to reflect? So the question is asking for journal entry to reflect the correct accounting treatment of the government grant and the equipment in the financial statement of Gardensburg for the year ended 31st December. So the year end 31st December Excel. On 1st January exits, so the start of the year, Gardenberg received a $30,000 government grant relating to equipment which cost $90,000 and had a useful life of 6 years. The grant was netted off against the cost of the equipment, so they used the grant to reduce the cost of the equipment. And what it means is that at that day, the carrying amount would be 90 minus 30, and that should give you 60,000. On 1st January X7, when the equipment had a carrying amount of 30,000, its use was changed so that it was no longer being used in accordance with the grant. This meant that the grant needed to be repaid in full. So the full amount of the grant is 30,000, so the repayment in full. But by 31st December X7, these have not yet been paid, and that will represent a liability. So there will be a liability at the year end, and that liability would be the 30,000. Now, let's see how we can respond to this question. So, it means that the depreciation per annum based on the reduced cost would be 60,000 divided by 6, and this should give us 10,000 per annum. And that means that at year end 31st December 20X6, which is the first year of the equipment, the carrying amount of the asset will be 60 minus 10, and that should give us 50,000. And please note that we were given this value from the question. Now, the repayment, what we can refer to as reversal of grant, is at 1st January 20X7. And what it means is that anytime there is a reversal of these capital grants, ideally on 1st January, like we have done, they reduce the cost, let's say 30 from 90 to 60. And once there is this reversal, it means that when you come here, the current amount which we had 50, we need to add back the 30 as though the grant had never been received. So it's a reversal. So we have to add back the amount of the grant. And that reversal, the double entry would be, we will debit the equipment, or PPE 30, and in credit liability, which is the grant, 30. So 30,000, 30,000. And this is what will happen on the 1st of January. Now, it means that the depreciation for the year would have to be calculated in two parts. One, based on reduced cost of 60, the depreciation would be, which we had earlier, 10. Then to revised cost. That is to say that it means this 30,000 we are adding back. The 30,000 we are adding back to the equipment. The depreciation have to be calculated. So now you would have 30,000 divided by, because it's 6 years, divided by 6. But in the current year X7, you will notice that we are looking at 2 years. So 30 divided by 6, that should give you 5. So 5 times 2 years. The 2 years would be one for X6, the other for X7. Know that here this is depreciation for 20X7. So this should give us another 10. Also X7. So in effect, we have a depreciation expense of 20,000. Now, what is happening is that effectively, if you are adding the 30,000 to the equipment, and the depreciation expense again will reduce the value of the equipment, means effectively the double entry, which is the journal entry required, the journal entry would be, we are debiting the equipment as a correcting value, which will be 30 minus the depreciation expense of 20. That should give us 10,000. So effectively we are debiting the equipment 10,000, and we are going to credit the liability, which is the grant, because that wasn't paid at the end, and you have to include this as part of the current liabilities. And then finally we debit P&L, which is for the depreciation expense. So the depreciation expense, and that would be 20. So this is the adjustment required for the repayment of the capital grant received for the equipment. I hope this illustration and example helps you in your preparation for the FR exam. Please subscribe to this channel to receive updates on new videos.